we give back probably about $40,000-$50,000 at least to our community every single year. Guess where most of that money come from? The phone's ringing, and yes, yes. So if it rings, $25. If you answer it, $50. All right, seriously, because we want to respect Rod's time and everybody's time in the room. So although it's a little ring, it may throw somebody off. They could be in deep thought because we're not here just to hear Rod speak and hear his story and get your Q&A out. We're actually here to hear all of that and go out and take action. That's the key to this today. So that's route number one. Second thing is the restrooms are right outside the door to my right, to your left. You're facing this way. It's right there to the right, and you'll see his and her right there. We do have unlimited coffee. We have K-cups out there for you guys. Water, filtered water out there. So we're going to get started. This man needs no introduction. I think all you've seen in social media posts and heard. This is Mr. Rod Williams. Let's give him some energy. And the way we're going to set this up is I have some questions for Rod that I'll get started, but this is also going to be a Q&A. And then, if Rod had any other special things that he wanted to share with you guys, he will do that as well. We're slated from 12 to 12:30. We may go that long, we may end a little early, but I do have us slated till 12:30. All right. Any questions? Did I leave off anything? Cool. All right. Well, let's get started. First of all, thank you. Appreciate you, man. Always.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah. I don't know if we put this in the marketing material, but it definitely was a conversation between Rod and I. You are looking at the first and only African-American MREA agent in the Southeast region. This region has been around for a really long time. Great people. We've seen some successes with agents, make a lot of money in this business. But an MREA agent is one, guys, that there's different categories that you can hit, but the main one is if you made over $1 million in GCI. You brought in over $1 million in GCI. So that's huge, right? All right, so let's dive in. I just want to give you a little bit of who you're sitting with. So tell us your production. Go ahead.
Real quick, what MREA doesn't tell you is how many expenses I have. Just keep that in mind.
Okay. Disclaimer.
Don't tell you that part.
Disclaimer for those that was in the training yesterday. Did they not dive into that? Expenses? Yeah, like heavily into that. So anyway, what was your production in unit volume the last 12 months, Rod?
Last 12 months, we did 38 million in volume and 113 units. Wow. And that's actually down about 30%. Our goal last year was to hit, I think, 150 units, but of course the market shifted across the board and industry-wide numbers. Units were down about 30%. So that hit us as well. So, but we still accomplished, impacting 113 families.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Congratulations on that. Speaking of, you said you noticed the market shifted. At what time did you and your team notice a little slowdown, and what matrix did stuck out first?
Yeah, man. So we do a great job of tracking our numbers. So we actually noticed it a couple of weeks after it started happening, where I was talking to agents months later, and they was just realizing, I'm like, oh, you behind the 8-ball. Right. But we track our numbers at a high level. So we had our best month since we've had our team in June of last year, and we closed 18 units in 1 month. Literally July, we closed on the 4th. So we went from our best month to our worst month. So then I dived in like, what's going on? And it was the interest rate. A lot of people just kind of backed out and said, I'm gonna just kind of hold off to the rates, kind of settle out a little bit. So we noticed it immediately though.
Awesome. So you were able to adjust.
adjust quickly.
So it's at least those expenses, right?
Right,
Like
absolutely,
watch your money, and things of that
Absolutely.
nature.
absolutely.
So you mentioned team. Tell me what your organization look like. What's the makeup of your organization?
Sure, so I'm the team lead. We have 7 agents on the team. We have a director of operations, which is my wife, Dewana. She's our director of operations.
Know anything about team? She about to make it all happen. He's just a face.
Right, so, yeah, that's definitely the MVP there. So my wife, she's our director of operations. We have Kristen, who's been with us since January 20th. January 2020. She's our executive assistant, and we have DeWanda, who joined us last year, and she is our transaction coordinator. So a total of 11 members on our team.
All right, cool. What's your main lead source or I want to change that a little bit.
Yeah.
What's your top 3 lead sources?
I like that question. Top 3. Number 1 is going to be sphere of influence by far. Number 2 is going to be social media. Number 3, if I had to say, it would be online leads, not social media, but specifically online. We hire companies to go in and handle our digital marketing, make sure our website gets tons of traffic, and just funnel those leads into our database.
Got it. Yeah. All right. And so give me an example, because that's becoming huge right now,
Right.
as we're starting to see that creep up into a lot of teams, especially top 3 is some type of online lead source.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen it to be many people, number 1,
Right.
but it's definitely in that top 3.
Yeah.
Right. So give us an example of online lead for someone that may not kind of understand, like your pay-per-click, like what's something that you use?
What do you mean exactly?
Like, is it Facebook ads? Is it, you dabble in Zillow, Realtor.com?
Yeah, we don't do any Zillow, we don't do any Realtor.com, so we focus on the Facebook ad, the retargeting, Google local service ads is a big one for us as well. But that's all under that one digital, marketing umbrella.
Yeah.
But yeah, Facebook, Google are the 2 biggest in that department.
Gotcha. Okay. What are the best ideas that have made the biggest impact in your business?
Oh, the biggest impact, man, it's been several. Maps coaching for one.
I did not pay him to say that. Don't make anything up, man. It's all real. Nah, but
Yeah, and it's funny, I say that because I joined Keller Williams in 2018. I was selling 70 houses a year myself, only me and my wife as my transaction coordinator. So going from E to P, right? Gary talks a lot about going from entrepreneur to purposeful, right? So as an entrepreneur, I learned how to just figure it out, right? Like, I'm okay, the person buys, they sign this, and okay, I got that. Let me just go do it as much as I can. But I was selling 70+ homes a year as an individual agent. And it was when I got to Keller Williams and got with Maps Coaching that I learned to take the systems and models that KW had, implement that, go to purposeful, right? You break through that ceiling of achievement and you go to purposeful, and then you design a model around your entrepreneur, and then you can reach a higher level of success. So Maps Coaching for me has been big, man. We were able to track our numbers at a high level. We haven't always tracked our numbers. And a funny story is the first year we hit MREA, which was 2021. The year prior to, we was about $40,000 away from him and had no idea. Had I known, had I been tracking my numbers, had someone holding me accountable at the start of that 4th quarter and said, hey, you're this close, I would have put it in overdrive. I would have worked every weekend, whatever I had to do, but I had no idea because I wasn't tracking my numbers. And Maps Coaching did that for me.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Accountability is huge.
And all of that.
Tracking your numbers, absolutely.
Numbers don't lie.
They don't.
But this a real, you can be real with us.
Sure.
You would have went out and bought a house.
Right.
Exactly. Look, we doing that.
And I had no idea. I didn't know until the next year. And we looked back, once we started tracking at the end of 2021, and we're like, well, let's go pull out 20. And it was like, wow, that's how close we were. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So what has been or is your current challenges right now? Like what do you see entering into the shift or something in the past that was a challenge that you overcame? And like, wow.
Current challenges. Anybody know Sean K?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sean is one of our top agents who's been with us since we started, by the way. But we talk a lot about it. That's why I asked if y'all knew her. But I think overcoming limiting mindsets, not just in the market with buyers and sellers, but with agents as we attract more people into our organization. Some of those challenges may look like I think the mindset around people being focused so much on commission splits and not net and not value. So that's some of my biggest challenges. And honestly, again, I'm here with y'all. So yeah. I think our people sometimes, right, only focus on gross, only focus on what I'm getting and not what is being split, but not necessarily what I'm net. And I like to refer to the phrase, do you want to 100% of the grape or 50% of the watermelon? I mean, what are we doing? So we're talking net. So that's been a big challenge for me, especially in the market we just got out of. Everybody was just making money from showing one property and submitting the highest offer. So it was a challenge to attract people because everybody thought they had it figured out. Now that the market is shifting, I'm having to literally shut the door and say no more agents for the first quarter as we build out some more systems to be able to manage it. So that was a big challenge for me. But as far as working with buyers and sellers, just overcoming objections every time the market shifts, right? In the last market we just came out of, I say last market, I'm referring to 6 months ago. Right. But the last market we came out of, the challenge was helping buyers understand, why we had to go so high over list price and how the appreciation of homes was going 18% year after year for 2 consecutive years. So you have to provide that type of data. If not, you're just talking, you're just coming off having commission breath and just being salesy, right? So the challenge is being able to educate people when all they hear is the headlines on the news, right? That's all they hear. So that was the challenge as far as working with buyers and sellers.
Love it. So two things off of that. One, you said you went right into your biggest challenge is, or current challenge, the biggest challenge is the mindset of the talent that you're attracting as a leader.
Right.
Can you give us an example of, what comes up in the mindset of an agent that's joining your team, something that you actually have to overcome? I'm proud of the grape and watermelon, but
sure. Absolutely. So I think generally speaking, a lot of agents do not track their numbers, do not have a P&L to track expenses. So an example of a challenge may be an agent I may be speaking with who's maybe selling 20 homes a year and think they got it all figured out. And they're only looking at that number that was on their 1099, right? And that number may say $200,000. But once we break their business down and once we really sit in, like, oh, you spent X amount on a transaction coordinator, right? You spent 50,000. I'm taking that off of your plate. You spend X amount on signs, X amount on marketing, X amount on photo shoots, X amount on all of these systems, the technology, coaching. We handle all of that for you, right? So that's an example. It's they're only focusing on the growth sometime when they should be looking at net and how much time they're focused on to get that net.
Yeah, absolutely. Preach. And a lot of that leadership came from Max coach and in trial and error or whatever, but you evolved as a leader before you start just saying, hey, I want, come join with me. It's the leadership that you're showing them, right?
I didn't evolve as in past tense. I'm currently evolved.
Of course,
I'm constantly involved, right? So constantly pushing my lid, right? So that I can grow a business and an organization big enough for others to come in and raise their lids as well. But yeah, I'm constantly raising that lid. I'm constantly evolving.
Love it. And then you mentioned when we're talking to buyers and sellers, like, what does that look like as far as the education piece for yourself?
Yeah.
Like, where do you go to break down what's going on in the market so that you can take that back to your team? And then how do you challenge your team to learn those scripts or learn that dialogue? What are your resources?
I attend several classes, man. Even at the point where I'm at, like I still, my wife and I, we actually calculated last night and we spend 40, 50,000 a year on education. So going to conferences, for us family reunion mega camp is a non-negotiable, right? So going to any class that I think is gonna help sharpen our skill set, listening to podcasts, mastermind with other people that's doing the type of business I wanna do. Websites like, what's that one? Keeping Current Matters, they have a lot of good content. Yeah, KCM, they push out a lot of good content. Inman News pushes out a lot of good content. Keller Williams pushes out a lot of good content. So just staying in tune, man. Don't unsubscribe from those emails. They're not spam. They're there to educate you.
Okay, so you're not just turning on YouTube and watching the agent who just sold $1 million house and then just saying. I know.
Lag time, yeah, lag time. That could have been a year ago.
Right, I'm teasing, man. What are you needing to figure out or break through in your business to get you where you currently are to where you want to be? Since you mastermind with a lot of people, you know, you subscribe, you're in coaching. You know, what's next? Like what's next for you?
What's next? So for me, striving to get to that 7th level MREA level. So right now we're about at the 5th level of the MREA model in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. So for me, the biggest challenge in getting there is removing myself from production and focusing on stepping out of the team lead role over into the CEO role and expanding into different markets and getting out of production 100%. Because right now I do still sell a house or two.
Right. Yeah. Love that.
It's a house or two. Yeah. Or 20.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because, you know, as a leader of any kind, whether it's an admin or anyone that you're going to be leading, if you picture a bubble and then you picture their bubble inside of yours, they have to be able to get everything that they want, so that, I mean, you have to, they have to be able to get everything that they want inside of the bubble that you create.
There you go.
So by you saying, you know, you want to be 7 levels, so that's room for someone on your team, like a Sean or someone that can now become the team lead because you created this world.
Exactly.
And that's probably what keeps you going.
It is.
That vision. I know it's what keeps them going.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's keeping that world big enough for them to thrive in. I think leverage is a negative connotation. I think when people hear leverage, if Marcus, if I'm leveraging you to do something, I think the connotation is you're doing something I don't want to do, which shouldn't be the case. It's you're better to do this 20%. I'm focusing on this 20%. That's leverage, but it's not a negative thing. It's like we're both focused on our 20 that's going to raise the lid of the company.
Okay. So tell me this, what has been your biggest, and how you want to categorize your biggest mistake, lessons learned, something you'll never do again on this road? It could be back from a single agent to you with the team.
I think not setting proper expectations and not documenting those expectations, right? I even learned it yesterday. So again, I'm still selling forward, right? I have not reached my ultimate, ceiling. I'm still selling forward. But document those expectations, right? I may have it in my mind that I expect a lead to be handled a certain way when it comes in, but if I haven't communicated that to my team or that team member, if I haven't set proper expectations around what happened, I cannot be mad at that person for not handling it the way I would. So that's been my biggest thing, really, is just setting proper expectations, even with new recruits and new people that we bring in, making sure that we have a streamlined onboarding process, right? So that they're not kind of out there on the island. But yeah, those are some of the biggest mistakes I feel.
So now let's get in, you Keller Williams, so I was gonna ask you this one right here. What book or training would you most recommend and why?
Books, I got several, man. So we actually have a book club on our team and we read a book a quarter. So some of the books I recommend as an agent, Ninja Selling is a good one. The Shift is a great one, especially for these times. So Ninja Selling, Shift, The One Thing, QBQ is one of my favorite books. What else, baby? Let's see.
We're reading
MREA, of course. The Miracle Morning, we're on, I think, the 3rd or 4th chapter with that one, and that's been good so far. But MREA, I mean, it's really the blueprint. Don't reinvent the wheel. I did. I just follow what the book told me.
Yeah.
They say if you want to hide something from certain people, put it in the book. So let's do a better job of making sure we're going to where the blueprint already is and not want to take you to lunch. I want to, pick your brain and go, the information is there. It is not hidden, it is there.
It's funny, I gotta share something. So yesterday we was in a training, shift into Overthrive, right? With the president of KW was here. And he said something that resident that's in my notes. He said that he's a Southern Baptist, whatever religion you are, but if you're reading the Bible and you can't be half in on it. If you're gonna follow the Bible, you actually have to follow the Bible to its teeth.
Yeah.
And the MREA is like that.
Yeah.
And he even said, it don't, for those, I'm not trying to say that the Bible and the MREA are the same, not by no means. But it's set up that if you're gonna follow the MREA, you can't pick and choose what you want to take from it and expect the success that they say that's going to come from it. You have to be all in on it.
That's facts.
You have to be all in.
That's facts.
And it will work. And you have to be, you have to have that, you got to give it that time.
Yeah.
To
And read it multiple times. It's not a one read type of book. Like I'm trying to read it twice every year.
Yeah.
I'm on my third. So last year I read it twice. I read it one time this year.
Kind of like the Bible, right? You don't just read it once and then put it down, right? You go back to it because you're in different places at different times in your life. And you're like, oh, I'm here now. Let me go back and revisit that, So thanks for sharing that, man. What are some of the most important keys for you to develop, to take you to each new level in your business? Like, what are some of the key milestones? Like you said, you study evolving, right? So what is like something that where you made it to a different level on Mount Everest and you just stopped and said, hey, we did that, and like what do you think that got you there?
Going back to, I think, what I said earlier, maps coaching, but also, man, having a tribe of guys who are doing the type of business I want to do, but masterminding with them on a monthly, weekly. I mean, we got group chats. So staying engaged with people who are doing the type of business I want to do. So masterminds, listening to podcasts, man, there's a lot of good podcasts out there as well. For team building specifically, a guy named Jeff Cohn out in, I think Utah has a great one. That's been great for us. But mastermind podcasts, books, maps coaching.
Okay. So you mentioned your tribe. Now, is that tribe that you're a part of, are they all in your market center?
No, none of them are in my market center. They're actually in different states. I actually met them in family reunion when it was in New Orleans. I don't think that was that the first time I met you? No, that was Orlando.
Orlando,
Yeah, I met those guys in New Orleans family reunion.
Right.
And we've all stayed in contact since.
You meet some good people at family reunion. Absolutely. You go with the right purpose. Right. I love it.
Don't go trying to get lunch with people you're seeing every day, people that's in your own market. You're going to see them when you get back to Atlanta. I mean, be intentional, right? With meeting people outside of your market center, outside of your state. So yeah, it's been very beneficial for me.
Yeah, awesome. Let's see. Let me skip down because I know they brought me with some questions too. Who or what has most challenged you to think bigger in your business?
Few people. My wife, my maps coach, Sean K. Sometimes there's other things I want to get into outside of real estate, and I'll say I don't have time. She's like, man, you could do it. Like, just do it. Like, think bigger, So I appreciate that. Yeah, those three people. My wife, Sean, my maps coach, my mom. So yeah.
So what top 3 pieces of advice would you give someone who is newer in the business or a veteran whose business needs a jump start to help them right now?
Get a good mentor or join the team. Join the right team. All teams are not created equal. All mentors are not created equal, right? Really do your research, do your due diligence, and come from contribution, right? Again, don't just, hey, let me go pick your brain. I want to go to lunch and give me. Like, what can you do for that person? Hey, do you need some property shown? Anybody that's doing business at a high level don't have a lot of time. How can you alleviate some of that for them, right? Like, hey, can I show some properties for you? Can I drop off some lockboxes just to get 30 minutes of you? Are you gonna be there doing your listening input? I can come write it for you. You can just talk and I can ask you questions. Come from contribution, but get a good mentor and join a good team.
Speaking of, what type of talent are you looking for in your business? Like when you seek out talent, what are some of the initial things that you actually look for?
We're looking for people, man, whose values and morals kind of align with ours. We're looking for hardworking individuals. We're looking for quality over quantity, honestly. We're not here to recruit a lot of people just to have a lot of people on the picture. That is not a desire of mine. We're looking for people who kind of represent us in a positive way, are ready to really plug in and grow. So we're looking for growth-minded agents that are really plug in and want to see their business grow, but do it in a fashion where, you know, they understand it's a team effort and everyone wins when we work together.
And how would you describe the culture in your team? And how important is that?
Yeah, we actually did a survey on our team, was it last year or the year before? And culture was the number one thing, the reason agents stay on our team. It was culture. It wasn't splits, it wasn't value, it wasn't marketing, it wasn't leads at all. It was culture. But our culture looks like, I mean, we're very open and sharing group. I mean, no one is, you know, you don't see agents getting a lot of success and then they stop coming into the office and then they like, oh, I'm not gonna pay you this new tool. We're all in the team meetings talking about what we're doing at a high level to help us succeed. One of our agents, she just headed up like, hey, I see y'all new agents are having challenges with script and role play. Y'all not busy after the team meeting, come over here, I'm gonna help y'all with scripts and role play, right? And that's across the board, really. And it's like a family, man. We're all loving on each other. We're not just only focused on the numbers. We're checking in on the families, you know, seeing how the kids are doing. We're attending kids, games, other team members. So it's bigger than real estate.
Yeah, I love it.
Bigger than real estate.
And I pose that question just to give you guys an idea of how it's not easy. I mean, y'all see it on the level of market centers, of course. But even on teams, the largest team that we have, the number one team is the Logan Group. You're probably familiar with Lansing Logan. They lost 30% of their agents last year. I mean, not last year, last month to a competing brokerage. 30%. And those agents averaging about, 28 to 38 deals in a year. They lost 30%. So it's not, it's not easy. You have to have that culture, that family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's huge.
Absolutely.
And last question from me, and I'm praying that y'all been getting some questions and stuff ready. I told y'all this would be kind of open dialogue. I just wanted to get some things started, but anything that I may have asked of Rod that you guys want to dig deeper with, I'm sure he's going to be there to answer that. So what haven't I asked you, Rod, that I should have?
You did a good job, man.
So now, we're gonna open it up to the floor, like, what is something, because all of us, all of you in the room are not in the same exact place. Like some of you run teams, some of you are on team, some of you are solo agents, that's looking to build teams, like, and some of you may not. He said he was a single agent for years, selling 70 homes. So you can ask him something that may not be about a team, like how did he get to 70? We didn't dive into that on his own, just an admin. So don't just think team. I know we're talking about that, because that's a big thing going on right now. But he was a single agent and he grew a business to 70 plus deals. All right, so don't leave that out if you're a single agent. So open it. Good, that's my girl. Giselle.
So,
Ready.
it was a question that you asked. You said, what are the the top three advice? And you only really gave us one. So what are the other two? You said, get a mentor and come from contribution. What are the other two?
You gotta pay for the other two now. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
So he asked what were the top three. You was gonna give one. What were the other two that you would give?
Advice?
Yeah.
Advice that I would give agents. I said, get a mentor. I said, join a team. Add education to your GPS and your 411. Do we all have a GPS and 411?
Yes.
Add education and self-development to your 411 and your GPS. so many times we focus on just the money-making activities, right? Like, oh, I'm going to that class because she said she sold 100 listings this year, or, oh, I'm going to that class to show me how to use a showing agent. All that's great, and you should do that too. But even bigger than that is just focus on your self-development, right? Like, focus on pushing your own lid. That would be the biggest advice.
Yeah, it sounds like also what you're saying too, Rod, and that is you're being on purpose. It's not, oh, I see a cool class coming up next week, I'm gonna go to that.
Right.
Oh, I see another cool class, I'm gonna go to that. But you're not on purpose in your training, in your path.
And it's not being done in a systematic way.
Right.
Because it's just in your mind and you only register once you see it come across your Instagram feed
Yeah.
versus building out that training calendar for yourself for the entire year or for that quarter, right? Like, look at the market center training calendar and plug some of those into your calendar. Look at KWU, look outside your market center, make sure you're saving. And one of my agents on our 411 last week, actually, she said on my 411 is self-development, right? And she wants to attend our family reunion. So she committed to every week before our one-on-one accountability session, she's gonna cash out me $50 to go towards her family reunion fund. That's being purposeful, right? That's being purposeful.
Yeah, love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to say thank you. We appreciate your feedback today. And a lot of things you said are really aligned with what I'm trying to do with my team. I decided the team, and Giselle asked questions, my junior agent. But my question is, because your lead sources are very similar to our team, our top lead sources are also Sphere, social media, and we're getting into the online leads aspect.
Yeah.
But my question is, how did you differentiate those quality leads from the ones that are just like, I'm still working on 576 credit score, and so we're still trying to like.
So newsflash, there's no such thing as like a hot and ready lead coming from like these online sources. Like, that way of thinking should just stop today, honestly. The average amount of time you're gonna have to contact the online lead before they're ready to conduct business is about 8 to 10 times. So if you're only calling that online lead once or twice, I'm like, oh, these leads not no good. You're wasting your money on whatever that lead source is. So I would say focus on a plan of how often and how many times you want to contact those leads to nurture them. The online leads are gonna be higher in the funnel. Sphere of influence is gonna be lower because you already have a relationship with them. They already know, like, and trust you. But with those online leads, you just gotta contact them more and nurture them more than your Sphere.
Right, I understand that, and we have smart cities in place for that. But I guess even from the Sphere, sometimes the Sphere influence, they send leads all the time, but it's not necessarily the lead that is ready to roll out.
Yeah,
So-
maybe having enough options for them, right? Like maybe partnering with a great lender that has a credit program or a credit specialist, so that you don't, just kind of let them go to the wayside because they're not ready to conduct business right now. And then put them on the smart plan, smart list, whatever CRM you use, so that you do consistently follow up with them. Because everybody's not going to be ready to transact business when they first come. Most people are not ready the moment they contact them. But just having a follow-up plan in place. And that was big for us, by the way. We just put our follow-up plan in place 2 months ago, right? So we were just like going in the CRM and just like, let me see who I can search for today. And I hired someone to come in and go in and build out smart lists and follow a plan so that we can't forget about them. Because now they're gonna pop up if we hadn't if we said they were a hot lead, they're gonna pop up in our CRM every 3 days if we haven't contacted them. If we said they're a warm lead, they're gonna be at the top of our list as soon as we sign in, if we haven't contacted them in 14 days. So just building out a good follow-up plan.
Yeah, and I think also too, like the more detailed that follow-up plan,
Mhm.
I think that feeling will go away, Kiki, that you're not doing something with them or it's a worse, kind of like a waste of time, or, I don't want them just having it a little
Yeah,
bit.
I don't mean it like that.
I know, I mean, trust me, we meet once a month, so I know that was a great question.
I hope I answered it, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, trust me. You told the same thing I told I'm joking. All right, Rob, you gotta help me, bro. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So, okay, Carol just actually, touched on it. When you started out, before you became this mega guy, what did you do? How was your day? What was your structure in the morning? Did you pivot calls and the sections? Did you do the whole from 8 to 12, seeing every morning, or what did you do? How did you actually get?
So I've never gotten on the pivot calls prior to Keller Williams. So when I was doing 70 homes a year, I was getting up early. So I was in front of my computer most days at 7:30, 8 o'clock. If you're just getting to your computer at 9 o'clock, you're way behind the 8 ball, way behind. Because I've already called you people, right? Our team has already called you people. You know what I'm saying? So my work day consisted of getting in front of my computer every day about 7:30. First, I would clear my inbox. Because for me, some people say you don't clear to the end, but for me, I don't like a scatterbrain. I like to get the inbox clear. Our focus is on going to inbox 0 every day. So before we leave the office, before my work day is complete, I don't need anything in my inbox, right? So I need to have Gmail labels so that every email has a home. And once I respond, and once that email doesn't require attention anymore, it gets dropped over in that label. I like to keep an inbox at 0. Now that my inbox is at 0, I go straight into lead gen. And having a lead gen plan, right? And I know we hear lead gen 1 hour, 2 hour. If you don't have any appointments today, we should be lead gen all day. I don't know why lead gen has become so unsexy, but that is the way to get the dollars, right? Like I heard somebody say, Richard, money broke. Like, Henry P said it, right? So Henry said, so just on the phone all day. If I don't have any appointments, I'm lead genning all day, and that can look like I'm spending 30 minutes on social media. What's my social media plan? I'm doing 2 posts a day, 1 story a day. I'm going live one time. I'm going to a new construction community and touring it and asking about their incentive and posting that. That's 30 minutes, right? Then I'm calling my sphere of influence for 30 minutes. Then I'm calling online leads. So just having a real plan, but that's honestly what I did from 7:30 to about 12 on most days.
Really?
Yeah,
No door
absolutely.
knocking and.
I've never did door knocking. I've never did golden letters. I've done open houses. I haven't done them at a high level though, honestly, but no, I've never did door knocking.
Thank you.
Ruthie's been up.
What is something that you did earlier in your career, either as a team lead or an individual agent, that you do differently today that has showed your growth?
Something that I do differently. Oh, I got a big one. Making sure I'm having a well-planned out buyer consultation with buyer clients. Don't just get in the car, start showing properties. Something's gonna pop up after the fact that you're like, man, I should have called it. I've been showing properties every Saturday to this person for a month, and now they tell me like they really don't like these style homes. Where did I drop the ball at? So before, I would always just, as soon as I got pre-approval letter, okay, are you available tomorrow? I'm gonna see some property, let's go see it. Now it's like, oh, you're approved, great. When are you available for a consultation? And in our team SOPs, we got questions built out that we add so we don't miss anything. So that's the
So
biggest.
the onboarding process.
Yeah.
As well.
Client intake, onboarding, yeah.
Chris, we'll come to you.
What's up, Jay?
I have 2 questions. The first question is, on average, like, if you can give me an estimate number, like, how much do you spend on leads per month?
We're about 3,000 on the digital, about 3,000.
Okay, and then my next question is, what does your follow-up plan look like? Once you have the lead?
So leads, once we have a lead, we make a phone call as soon as possible. We follow a script. So we have our system set up. As soon as the lead comes in, the script pops up. So the agent is just following what it says. From that script, they're asking the key question, and their goal of that conversation is to try to set an appointment with this buyer where they can go a little more in depth. We're not trying to like convince them on their first phone call to do business with us. We want to work on providing value to them, and them doing business is going to be a byproduct of that. So we're first, call and speed to lead is important. They say on average, you should be contacting online leads within the first 5 minutes. So contacting them as soon as possible, following scripts. And the goal of that script should be to set an appointment. Then based on how that conversation goes, if they like, yeah, my lease is up in 9 months, I cannot break my lease early. We consider that a cold lead, meaning they're transacting business 6 months out. So we put them on our cold list. So now we only need to touch them maybe once a month. If they say, yeah, my lease is up in 2 months, they're considered a hot lead. We consider 1 to 3 months hot. And I can go more in depth with this, but we consider our hot leads transacting business in 1 to 3 months. So if they say something that they want to transact business in that time frame, we put them on hot. And now our follow-up plan based on hot is we have to contact them once every 3 days. And if we don't, they're going to stay at the top of the list so we don't miss them.
I have two questions as well. One is, are you using Command as your CRM? And if not, what CRM are you using? And are you using your CRM to scale your business as far as like conversion or everything like that for your numbers? And if not, what do you suggest to use to scale your businesses to know your numbers?
So honestly, we only use Command for compliance. For our CRM, we use Follow Up Boss. And for our tracking, we use CISU.
So what called?
CISU, SISU. Tell them I sent you.
And are you using that to track, like scale your business and everything as well with that?
1000%.
So using that at a high level.
Very high level. Yeah, it's a huge learning curve, though, I'll admit, and it took us about 3-4 months to get on board. I mean, but once you get there, it's really gonna give you a bird's eye view on your business. It's gonna show you your conversion ratios based on how many people you're talking to. How many of those people are you converting to an appointment? How many of those appointments are you converting to getting a signed agreement? How many signed agreements are you converting to get on the contract? And that's so eye-opening. I had an agent who was kind of, not closing at the rate she wanted to close. And we pulled out her CISU dashboard and it showed us her lowest percentage across the board was taking people from once she had a buyer signed to get them on the contract. So it wasn't getting a new business. She had no problem getting a new business and making the calls and sending appointments. It was getting the people that are already signed under contract. So just having that type of system to recognize that data, let us work on that specifically. Okay, what do we need to do? How's the buyer consultation going? What are you saying when you're showing them property, right? Like how many people are you working with at one time? Maybe we need to leverage a showing agent. But again, that conversation started because we have the data to identify.
Even how you showing up.
Yeah. How are you showing up?
How you look,
How are you showing up?
something off.
Something's up.
That's cool. Great question, Marcus, then we'll go back here. Marcus.
So what was your first hire and how did that fuel your growth?
First hire was a transaction coordinator. She sent back that. Still with me. I pay well. Pay well.
I don't think you got a choice, but no.
But honestly, before her, I hired a transaction coordinator. My wife was a former educator. I had a transaction coordinator. That was my first hire. My transaction coordinator moved out of state and got into a different career. My wife got out of education and she became my transaction coordinator. So I don't want to make it sound too easy as if I had it easy because my wife was my first hire, right? After her, the second hire was an administrative assistant, right? And I think you need to focus on, my personal opinion is focus on that, the foundation and getting your systems tight, getting your processes worked out and documented is a key thing. And I think admin help will help you do that before you attract more agents. And then you're scrambling because they don't have any direction because you don't have the proper foundation. So admin is the first hire.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't think it actually has to be a person first. It could actually be a system, like a tool, like Command. No, but it could be something as simple as that first, right, Rod? And then you hire somebody to run the system.
I don't know. I think a good admin is gonna, because a lot of times the agents, we're better off in front of the people and selling. And sometimes we can't get those systems, maybe a cyberbacker, but some help maybe to get those systems together. That's why I said admin.
No.
But if you're good, because for me, I've always been good on the admin side too. So I did have a lot of the systems kind of already put in place, and admin and my wife, they helped me really just refine them.
Yeah, but know that the person's gonna cost you way more. So if you have the money, then absolutely, go do that. But if you don't, if you're building up to that, then, there is other leverage that you can have, right? In that.
I just want to add that you can get those numbers in Command if you use opportunities to correct them.
The CISU, you talk about between that and CISU. And CISU integrates into Command, like they have that AP1,
Yeah, they do.
AP1 or something like that, API, it can get there. So. Next.
Hey, Rod,
Yes.
talk a little bit about the mindset 2023. A huge shift in just 6 months.
Yeah.
Our market has become more realistic in my mind
Yeah,
than anybody being able to sell a house is not a
It's a
good
skill-
real
it's a-
estate market. You know
Absolutely,
what I'm
it's a
saying?
skill based.
So now we're back to the real sheriffs are in town.
Mindset, man, for us, it's just like, we will not lose by any means, right? I don't think the strategies change in a shifting market. I think the actions and how many times we may have to do something may change, but the strategies are the same. So the mindset is, regardless of the market, we're gonna win. We're gonna close deals. That's it. Like, what else are we doing? No, serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, what else are we doing? So the mindset is win no matter what. Figure out what needs to happen and do that. I hope that answers your question, man.
It does.
Oh, back here.
You kind of touched, I mean, and thank you for being here and sharing your insights and your wealth of knowledge with us. You kind of touched on sphere of influence and hot and warm leads. If you're a new agent, new to the area and don't really have a huge sphere of influence, what direct advice would you give that?
I would go to the local shopping center, set up a booth and sell cookies or do drawings and get contact information. I would wear my name tag everywhere I go, or my branded shirt or something real estate related. Cause that's gonna help people just start talking to you without you having to initiate. I would go to my social media. I would ask my coworkers, I would ask anybody, and if I don't have personal friends here, my hometown, I would ask who they know that lives in this area that they can connect me with. So I can still ask for referrals, but I would start there, social media, referrals from people who I know that may know people in my market. Doing open houses is a big one, right? If you don't know anyone, go do an open house for a top producing agent, but do it at a high level, right? So don't just get there at the start of the open house time. You got to get there 2 hours early. You got to put out 5 to 10 signs, directional signs. You got to knock on 5 doors this way, 5 doors that way, 5 doors in front of you. You got to invite them to the open house. You got to leave some flyers. You got to ask for their contact information so you can provide them with a free CMA to show their home value. So there's ways you can definitely get people in your world being new to an area.
That was my question as well, but it's also, what was some of the lead generation programs that you joined in the beginning? Like as a new agent that probably helped you grow your business.
Lead generation programs. I didn't join any programs, honestly. I just focus on my sphere. Social media. I mean, back when I first got started in real estate, Instagram didn't exist. You only had Twitter. You couldn't even post a picture of a house on Twitter at the time. It was only text. So I would just DM. I literally kind of what they call the D2. I kind of did a similar style. So every day I would just go down my friend list and I would do 30 a day and I would just send them a direct message. And I would just check on them, make sure I got their contact information and ask if they mind if I reach out to invite them to a cool event, right? Just find other ways to add value instead of always asking for business. So I just always went to my social media, got over 5,000 people in my friend list, and take 30 a day and just talk to them. That was my system. Honestly, I didn't have any paid CR. I didn't have any of that back when I was selling multiple homes.
Hi, what was your career before real estate? What made you transition into real estate?
So why you laughing, man?
Because I know what it was.
Max, right?
So I worked at a factory called Yamaha. We built jet skis, 4-wheelers, and go-karts, golf carts. So I worked there for 11 years. So straight after I graduated high school, I went straight to Yamaha. So I've never been to college or anything. But I worked at Yamaha for 11 years. In the same time that I was working at Yamaha, at the factory, I was a promoter also. So I was throwing parties, car shows, talent shows, big events, always doing events to bring people in, right? And it was from that to where I met my then real estate mentor that introduced me to real estate. I was throwing an event and he kind of seen how people took to me. And he said, you would be good in real estate. So I gave it a shot.
Very short. Jimmy Jones.
Hey, Ron, I'm a big fan of yours, man. Always been a fan of yours, brother. Honored to meet you. Thank you for being here. After Rod Williams gets $1 million listing, a luxury listing, what is your strategy in this market to get it sold?
We don't sell a lot of $1 million listings, honestly, man. Our average sales price last year, I think it's $335. So we may have only sold $2 or $3 million listings. So I don't know if I can give you a high level answer to that. I mean, it would be the same, but beef up the marketing a lot. Maybe partner with a more experienced agent on a co-list situation, someone that has the experience that you can learn from. But we don't sell a whole ton, so I don't want to give you in the wrong information.
And see, that's why I love this crowd, because that's a real question. He just listed of 1.1 million a few days ago. So he's like, I'm here to-
Help, Rod.
Like,
Help.
just say this is more, now it's moved from a fast-paced market. It's gonna sell, you're gonna sell.
Open house this Saturday to the floor. Open house this Saturday to the floor.
But are you doing an open house at a high level?
Right, there we go.
I am now. Yes, I am now. What do you mean by high level?
Like I said.
I mean, oh, okay, got you. Yeah, like
just all
knocking the
those-
5 doors, all that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
killing it on social media,
Gotcha,
some
gotcha.
video content.
I got you. Thank you.
I have a question, kind of picking back off of that, because I have a client who, is about to close next week, so how do you, I guess in the same way, like, not with listings, but with sales, like, do you, send out mailers to the neighborhood and say, like, this house just sold, like, what do you do as far as, like, after you close on a house?
Yeah, postcards. So postcards has never been one of our top lead sources. But I do know of an agent or two that it works for. You have to be extremely consistent with it. Just sending it out one time just so typically isn't gonna give you a return. You may get one phone call after sending 50 mailers, but that's something you want to target specific areas and send them consistently. So like maybe over a whole month, send one a month. I saw a recent survey. They said, they surveyed a neighborhood and they said, they asked every neighbor in the neighborhood, they said, who's the top agent in this neighborhood? And they got 20 different answers. They then came back and they took 6 months and they sent postcards every month and they made up a fake agent. Here's John Smith, put him on a night suit, top agent in this neighborhood. And they sent it to everybody for 6 months.
John ain't sold none.
Thank God, they made up the name. They sold, made up the name. They come back 6 months later and say, who's the top agent in this neighborhood? And guess who it was? So it's not how good you are. It's not the knowledge, it's the consistency of it. So keep sending those postcards. Yeah.
As far as, like with your team and like the leads that go out, do you have like an agent requirement? It's like, do they have to be on the, document in like 3 hours a lead gen, or like, how does when you give them leads to your team members, like, how do you, not micromanage, but like, how do you like make sure that they're doing their lead gen and following up and stuff like that?
I have a time block to go in there and review lead management. But honestly, that's the area I failed at, right? That's the area I failed at. So now I've gone back and documented what my expectations are for the lead. This is something I failed at recently, by the way. So having that document that I'm now having agents sign in order to get, because leads are a bonus. Again, I don't lead in my value proposition. I don't lead with, hey, we're here to give you the most leads. Because if you only hit get leads, you're not a good fit for our team, right? So knowing that, first of all, leads is just in addition to all these other things that our team can provide. But if you do want to enroll into our lead program, here are the expectations to handle these leads. So then it's an easier conversation when something on this list doesn't happen, the lead has to be reassigned. So to answer your question, I hope just set aside the time block to go in there and manage how leads are being handled, but setting the expectations up front.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, I'm joking, man. I'm good.
we're going to a raffle, ask a question. No, thanks for coming out here. My question is, do you and your team have an organization that you sponsor or support or contribute to?
Absolutely. My wife, we just talked yesterday in our leadership meeting, we doubled the amount that we're going to sponsor this year in the community. Some of our past clients have nonprofit organizations that we have money set aside at the top of the year that we're going to make sure we dedicate to those sponsors.
Okay, but how do you decide which organization or you kind of share what the organizations are?
I shouldn't say this out loud, but whoever reaches out, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Honestly, if people reach out to us, we feel like it's a good cause. We feel like they're really, doing the work in the community. We do some due diligence and make sure we're not just throwing money around. But if it's something that kind of hits home, align with our values, we support it. I know, right?
You're going into lead management, do you have it set up so your agents have a certain limited amount of things that they can handle, so they're not overburdened with making sure that they make their contacts?
I haven't in the past, but it is something I want to look into. One of the podcasts I mentioned earlier, Jeff Cohn with Team Building Podcast, he mentioned, and I find this to be kind of true, but he mentioned the average agent cannot handle more than about 20 leads a month. Because they start, dropping the ball and following up because they're spread thin, trying to manage and just call. you can't go deep in those conversations if you're scrambling trying to get the next word missing. So I've heard around 20 a month, but that's not anything I've implemented yet, but I am looking to it.
And I think that kind of goes to what you were explaining to Kiara, where you have to touch those people 6, 8, 12, 14 times before, there's gonna be some business. So if you're getting new leads, getting excited about those,
Yeah.
what are you doing with the ones that you're not going deep enough, like you just mentioned?
And Sean on our team is phenomenal with that. I'll be talking to her and she'll say, I just got such and such on the contract. I'm like, that name sounds familiar, but she's like, we talked 6 months ago. You know what I'm saying? Because she's following up though and nurturing those people,
Yeah.
staying in contact, and now they're ready to do business.
Yeah.
And she's the first person they think of.
100%.
Hey, question. So you spoke about being on the team. I've been an agent probably a little over 5 years. I've never been on the team. I've always been a single agent. But as far as like closers, of course, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I'm a mom, wife. I still have a full-time career, but a lot of people don't know that. People think I'm just a real estate agent. But I'm nowhere near closing what I want to close. The question is, what is the success rate that you have seen for somebody that not new in the business, even new or old in the business, but want to see their business change? What is that success rate you've seen with them joining like a team outside of being a single agent?
We actually track that. So for the first 3 years, we only had experienced agents. And the last year we brought on three or four new agents. So NAR says that it takes the average new agent about 8 months to close their first deal. On our team, we do cut that in half. Agents are closing their first deal in 2 to 3 months. Being on the team, because I mean, you're plugging into proven systems, tools, resources, so it makes sense that you can. So the success rate is you're gonna close much faster.
Mhm.
And that's another thing I feel like people don't think about when they only get caught up in splits. Is like you can wait 6 months and close 2 deals and keep it all, or you can close 5 in that 6 month time, right? So again, 100% of the great for 50% of the walk.
The same thing you said in my story. So as for you, when you were working in corporate office and what you're doing, right? When you're doing that, when you want to know as well, before you got something.
Yep, I was a dual career agent for my first year in real estate. In that first year, I may have closed, I think 3 or 4 deals, but it was much different. It was 2010, but social media didn't exist in this capacity. I feel like that's a huge leverage now that we have to reach out and touch people. But yeah, I was a dual career agent my first year in real estate.
So at what point did you say, okay, you know what, real estate is doing great for me, that I'm gonna get rid of one of the two or both of them?
After that first year,
That was it.
after I got my license March 31st, 2010, I quit my job June 26, 2011. So after that first year, and I had only closed 3 deals. So it wasn't that I made enough money to sustain, it was that I seen that I could do this at a high level if I had more time to put into it.
So, as an individual agent, 70, I keep rolling that number in my head. That's a lot of paperwork. What's doing all that paperwork as a
Yeah, the transaction coordinator did all the paperwork. I didn't do anything. I got it on the contract and handed it off. Same thing we do now in our team. Get it on the contract, hand it off. The agent doesn't have to worry about anything.
Okay.
They're watching all the deadlines. They're sending the contract to all parties. They're following up, making sure everyone received it. So yeah, that's a huge leverage.
And all that's on your calendar, so you have visibility.
All of what is
Those
on.
deadlines, due diligence.
Yeah, the transaction coordinator sends you calendar invites of all the contingency, the closings, the inspections, all of that. Mhm.
Yes, Ms. Lane.
So kudos to you and your wife. I can't wait to see the new cover of the MREA real estate book. That would be so awesome. So my question is, in this corrective marketing, as you lead generate, one, what is the most objections that you're hearing? And then secondly, what would be the script that you're using to get that?
Yeah, interest rate is the #1 objection we're hearing.
Okay.
People want to wait. They want to wait till the market crash. That's another. They want to wait till the market crash. They want to wait to the recession. By the way, we're here. We're not going until we're here already. So we're hearing, they're waiting on the market to crash. They're waiting on interest rates to go down. The script that we're using is, even though rates are higher than they were in previous years, you can buy the home now and refinance when the rates come down. The benefit of that is you don't have the competition by buying now. On average, our buyers submitted 10 offers in the previous market. And on average, our buyers went 20,000 over list price. You don't have to do that because now our buyers are averaging getting their properties at 95% of the list price and getting all closing costs paid. So having that data and just overcoming it that way, telling them to, go ahead and buy if you can afford it. The limit say you're pre-approved and you can refinance later. But the difference is if you wait till later when the rates go down, there's going to be so much competition. You're going to be back in the most offers and paying more. So it makes sense to buy now.
Now, can you say that again? I'm sorry.
I'm selling the playback.
I'm about to memorize that.
No, I have a question though, sure, it's staring me in my face. You mentioned budgets and P and Ls. You mentioned, gross commission versus what they bring home. Yep. How important, and when did you realize this, of running a budget? And then how often do you review your P and L?
So I actually leveraged my assistant now because, we do it together when we plan for the upcoming year, we do our budget. But once a month, we're going in QuickBooks, we're looking at our bank statements, right? We're looking at all the receipts, make sure everything matches. And we're doing that once a month right now. But tracking it at a high level, making sure, we're not spending money on things that we're not getting the best return on. But we're doing it monthly, looking at that P&L every month to see where we maybe could improve. Maybe we're spending too much money. It was funny that once we started tracking, because we started this process early last year. And once we started tracking it, we noticed that like, man, we're paying money for these signs and the houses were selling before we even get it on the market good. So maybe we need to, we're spending X amount. So that was something we was able to see because we started tracking. But once a month is how often we're looking at those numbers.
Absolutely. That's a huge thing, budget and P and Ls, guys. I've seen the most agents get out of this business is because of tax issues, tax problems and things of that nature. Budgets and P and L is super important.
I was gonna say, being an agent can be overwhelming, but being a team lead is definitely, it's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you do to balance? What do you do for self-care? Like, how do you take that break?
So self-care for me looks like, going to smoke a cigar, maybe just going to chill out by the pool, just clear my mind, watching a good, I love to watch podcasts like Drink Champs. I'm a hip hop head. So just going to watch something to take my mind off a little bit, get massages, again, cigars, having a drink, not, having a drink and a nice cigar, just take my mind off of it and realize that this isn't, we're able to wake up every day and do something fun and help people achieve home ownership. So I don't let it get too heavy on me, right? Like at the end of the day, I can just do something else, right? But yeah, that's a real thing. Mental health is important. I lost a good friend and colleague. Some of you may know Rashad to suicide. So mental health is a very serious and very real thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Question, yes. Have you utilized any of the virtual assistants or anything like that?
I have not. I like people in person. Maybe I'm old school.
How about ISA? Do you utilize them as well?
No, we're not. Actually, we did have a virtual ISA company called Conversion Monster. But we let them go. That was one of the expenses we cut when the market shifted last year. Yeah. But actually I thought about bringing them back because they do help convert those leads.
And do you actively recruit or do you allow it to grow organic? Like your business, like agents?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, part of my growth plan and my GPS for the year
Okay.
is agent recruiting and retention, right? I'm not just forgetting about the people I already have. How do I retain them? How do I continue to add value so that they won't stay too, right? But yeah, I'm actively recruiting. So I'm looking at you like, no,
And next month, we're gonna have.
Let's do it.
Nah, I'm messing. Yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, I'm running the business, so if I meet someone and we start a relationship. But I mean, honestly, again, it's about quality over quantity, man. We've turned away more people this year than we brought onto our team. I mean, Sean, to tell you how many agents I bring through and just give a tour of the office, but they don't see anything. Seriously, yeah.
What platform do you use to hire your assistant?
But Indeed.
Oh.
That's the company, no, we didn't use the company. But what was that company?
You be going hard.
The Assistant Institute,
Okay.
and she's with Keller Williams, Lori.
Yeah, we had, a couple of people use Lori. Brenda, is that who you guys use, Lori? And Corinne, I think Corinne used her. Yeah.
Yeah, we used her to find our first person. After that, it's just been Indeed and social media.
So we use her to find one person, but with Kristen, we use Indeed.
That's right.
So how do you balance real estate and family?
Family first. Family first. My wife will tell you, I'm home most days at 5:30. Right? And the phone is put in my office and I'm playing with baby girl and talking to the wife. Now, because she's in real estate, we tend to still talk real estate around the dinner table. But it's important to me to kind of shut it off, man, and not be, writing offers at 7, 8 o'clock and, not be just like, can't spend time with my family because I'm so focused on this. Like that stuff can wait. Unless it's super urgent, due diligence is expiring and we ain't heard back and I gotta send something out. But for the most part, my daily schedule, I'm home at 5:30 and the phone's put away and I'm focusing on my family time. And for me, that's important. So what's important, we make sure we make time for it and we put it in and put something in place for it. Yeah, so I don't miss a bedtime. I don't miss her waking up or anything every day. My son is here too, by the way. So what's up, son? Do I miss any events? In your 20 years of life, did I miss anything? Never have.
So, Rod, I have another question. You said that you guys noticed that, as a matter of fact, the end of the year, you ended up about 30% less than production than where you thought you would be. If I lost 30% of my production, I'll be pulling the little hair I got left out. And I've seen that with agents, like their business have slipped at 30, 38%. So you don't seem too bothered or too wary.
I mean, it's just money. We can make some more. But no, serious, on a serious note,
Mindset. So
your mindset, it's not the end of the world. Like I was saying earlier, it's like, okay, we didn't make as much money, but we still stayed afloat, right? But being good with budgeting and your finances helps that, of course. But that's why we also set big goals and shoot for the stars, because even if we come a little low, at least we still have some profit and we're still good, right? But a big thing for us is that last quarter, we brought on 2 new agents, right? And those agents came in and really, closing deals. So that helped, although we were off, we still got some good traction coming into the new year also.
Gotcha. All right, it looks like I think all right, go ahead.
That's good.
That's like 7, Marty.
You just it said something about the profit. So are you running within the numbers, percentages from the MREA, what, 40, 30, 40,
It's
30,
40.
40?
It's 30, I think. I'm a little 30, 40. I'm a little higher, honestly. I am a little high. I like to just compensate people really well.
Right.
I believe in paying a little better than whatever the standard is. I think it just creates a type of loyalty that people see that you really want to go the extra mile for them. So I'm a little higher on what the model says, but we are still profitable.
And that adds to creating better culture.
I think so.
Yeah, I
So
think,
what is the standard?
yeah, and
What's the standard with the splits typically?
50-50, just like an MREA.
yeah, but I think yesterday, Mark King he spoke on that a little bit about, people run, the model is there just as a model. People do things a little different, as long as that net profit is kind of where you want. You may rob from this, so what I'm hearing Ron, I don't know his business directly, but what I'm hearing him say is he may put a little bit more money up front into his team, whatever he gets that culture back. But I'm not hearing him spend a whole lot of money on like ad spend and things of that nature, so it balances out, you know.
I have another question too about post-closing stuff. What are you doing for your sphere? Because we're doing, we do client events and we're doing 36 touch. Is there anything else that you do?
Similar, but we just go real deep on those events and do touches. We have a partnership with Chick-fil-A, so we send birthday physical cards in the mail, handwritten. On their birthday, they can take that card to any Chick-fil-A in the United States and get a free dessert on us. We're doing client events, we do it quarterly, so it's on our GPS, right? So we're doing them at a high level, and with the events, it's all about the invite and actually the day of getting a chance to really love on. So we don't talk real estate when they come. We're not asking them like, you should bring a referral with you. Like, we're actually loving on them and being purposeful at that event. But I was similar, yeah, that 36 touch, or we actually call out 52 touch. But 52 touch and birthday cards, we send out annual holiday cards, we send out little calendars every year as well. So we keep stuff in their household to remind them and keep us top of mind.
What kind of events do you do for like, since you're saying quarterly, I'm sure that's pretty expensive to host for the amount of clients that you close with. So what kind of events do you do that's not for that?
So you'll be surprised, you don't typically get like hundreds of people at these events. We do a lot of small events. We did an ice cream social, maybe costed us $1,200. We all met at Piedmont Park. We had an ice cream little mobile cart come out and give away ice cream. We had games. So we're doing things like that. We leverage the market center. We're doing photos with Santa. So we're going to market it to our people with our marketing on it as well. What's some other events? My wife is over the events.
Yeah, popsicles in the park,
Coffee and croissants.
coffee and croissants, and just have people come out. We don't spend a ton of events and stuff like that.
Small events.
Yeah.
Just a reason to get in front of them. They don't have to be anything well thought out in this big circus type thing. Just a reason to invite them to something.
So before you went quarterly, did you do like annually?
I did.
Annually, and then went to quarterly?
I did. I used to do one at the end of the year and spent way too much money. I did. We rented out the top of Punt City Market, the entire rooftop. Yeah. Crazy times. But the difference is not that it was a bad thing to spend money, because as long as you get a return, it's just money, right? But the bigger thing was we only had opportunity to touch on our people and invite them one time a year. That's why we went to quarterly, because we got multiple reasons throughout the year now to talk to them and invite them.
To piggyback off of what she said, did you ever utilize some sponsorship to do those events? For like partners? Okay.
1,000%. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm all about collaboration.
Absolutely. So I did have another question in regards to accountability and keeping, like, what are you seeing on your team as far as accountability around lead gen? I mean, you talked a little bit about if you don't have a deal or something out there, then you should be lead gen all day. What is the accountability like around that, and what have you seen the reaction to agents and wanting to stay in that space?
Yeah.
Keeping them.
For the most part, man, all of our agents, because we set proper expectations around it during the onboarding process, because we've set those expectations, it's an easier conversation, right? And we're tracking at a high level. So the accountability is every week, we have a one-on-one accountability meeting with every single agent, one-on-one. And during that one-on-one, we're just pulling up the numbers. Here's what you said you were gonna do. Here's what you did. How do you feel about it? Now, what are you gonna do differently? Is there anything I can do to help train or support you in that area? That's the accountability. Yeah, but it's every week.
Yeah.
Sean and I met yesterday, 2 days ago. Yeah.
If you can get that one to meet with you doing something right now.
That's why
Talk.
Yeah, but man, this was great, long time coming.
Yeah.
Congratulations on a phenomenal meeting. Man, being that number one, being an African American base that we have is being an MREA agent. I know I speak for all of the agents here. We have a lot of guests in the room, I see too. But for us, our agents, whatever we can do to support you, man, because this means a lot. It's something that, we talk about quite a bit. It's funny, she's sitting next to Sean, but she's always on me like, we need an MREA agent in our office. This is even before you hit. She's been telling me this 2 or 3, 4 years. Dana, yeah, I'm gonna call you out every time. But she always pushes me though to say, you know, why don't we have that MREA agent? So I'm hoping that Dana got some nuggets and some of our top agents, you know, that's there. They're halfway there.
Yeah.
We're seeing some of them hit 500,000, you know, GCI, you know, like hopefully they're getting some of this.
I hope so. I hope this has been helpful.
100%. And at the end of the day, I don't care. It's not a company brand. I think Rod could probably do this at Rod Williams Real Estate, 100%, because to get to that level, it's not about the company brand, to be honest, and y'all know I'm KW through and through. It's about leadership. It's about, if you listen to his talk, he's talking about, he's become a better leader every step of the way, even to just yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, he didn't feel like he was the best leader in that situation. And then he fixed it though. Leaders have short-term memory, guys. They have a short-term memory. Screwed up, I'm out. I'm not doing it. I'm smoking a cigar and I'm figuring it out and I'm gone. Next. So I hope that's what you hear, because I brought Rob, because we have a lot of teams and Dana's been on me about somebody, like how do we get our agents to break through that ceiling? Because I don't know if you guys know it, you'll hear a lot about it. If you're Keller Williams, the stock Thrive to 25. And one of the things of that is Keller Williams is committed to having over 100,000 millionaires in this company that become by 2025. I know you probably in the room, y'all came up with it. Y'all, that's not a joke, I'm serious.
No, that's what we do.
He named the numbers.
We know you see.
He's in Gary's basically top 100. He goes
Yeah.
to meet with them on a month, you know, every other month basis,
Right.
right? So he's in that room, and Gary's serious about that. The blueprint is there. We've made more millionaires in this company created than Microsoft. And at Microsoft, back in the day, you could be a secretary of somebody sitting at the front desk reading people, and you became a millionaire if you were there during that time. We've surpassed that. So it's real what we're talking about, but it's conversations like this and being able to listen and then go. A lot of you guys went in the room when we started. I said the one thing is it's enough to hear Rod talk and us have this dialogue, but what is your action item? I'm gonna be honest, I'm even worse. So one, you know what mine is? I'll share so y'all can hold me accountable, Rodney. He said he'd get up at 7 o'clock. I'm sitting here like, Rod, really?
I get up.
Well, baby steps.
Real.
But how many times have we heard that? It's part of the energy plan. I know I've heard it over here. I've been here 13 years. I hear that all the time. And I have those, oh, I'll get up at 4:30. He's consistently doing that. So, you know, hopefully you guys, like I said, took something out. Rod, thanks again, man, so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. You're done. Man, bro.
Hey, you stay right there.
Hey, Jimmy, can you get